How's it going, everybody? It's me, Jimmy Stewart. And I'm taking over hosting duties from Drew because I'm here to review this sensational movie I was in a long time ago. And I'm actually the ghost of Jimmy Stewart, back from the dead, talking about this movie, at Christmas time. Hey guys, Drew here from more Sci-Fi and Beyond. And holy cow, guys, we're finally here at our last episode of the year, our annual Christmas special. And it's going to be a big one because we're talking about my favorite Christmas movie of all time. And we got some cool guests with us. Um,
Literally a large episode.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is
Mm-hmm.
the most people we've ever had on an episode
A
all at
Christmas
once.
size, an
Yeah.
Xmas size episode. Yeah.
But no, let me introduce everybody. As always, we got my two awesome co-hosts, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eric White.
Hey,
Then
everybody.
we got Jackson, the singing wizard, himself, as well. And we got my mom with us,
Hello, everyone. My name is Robin.
Robin. And then this is actually a pretty special moment because we got Reed Lackey from the Fear of God podcast. And as everybody
Hello,
knows,
everyday.
that's my favorite podcast of all time. I always talk about him.
That's kind of you.
Yeah. Towards my mom. And they've never met till just now.
Mm.
So
Hello again, Robin.
Hello, Henry.
yeah, so you finally get to meet the elusive Reed Lackey.
I am very underwhelming. Like I'm perpetual. I think my tombstone will say he was overhyped. So yes.
Don't sell yourself too short, Reed.
Oh goodness.
Yep. So before let's just get right into it with the plot summary according to the Internet Movie Database.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
real quick.
You didn't
Yeah,
introduce
if you
Yeah,
our other
you.
if you
guest.
don't mind,
Oh yeah, I
if you don't
forgot we got
mind, I have one more guest that I brought along with me, seeing this film for the very very first time. So if you don't mind, I'll do introduction duties because this person is very special in my life. Has meant a lot to me for like 14 years now. And no, it is not my co-host of the Fear of God podcast, Nathan Rout. It is my very own son, Sawyer Lackey. Sawyer, say hi to everybody.
Hi everyone.
What's up, Sawyer?
I saw her.
Welcome, Sawyer.
We should also mention that my mom was supposed to be making her horror sci-fi and beyond debut on this episode, but she came down with probably COVID because she's gotten
Mm.
COVID like a million times at this point.
Yeah.
And so she is feeling too sick to discuss this film. So
Yeah.
We are
we gotta
sending
have
her
her.
love and well
We gotta have
wishes.
her on at some point, though. Maybe when
Yeah.
we talk about Harry Potter, we should have her on. She
Oh
likes
yeah.
those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Well, I know we're planning on doing a Freaky Friday review for Mother's Day next year.
Oh yeah, we do need to do that, so we can have her on. She loves those movies. She
Yeah.
loves Freaky
Such a
Friday.
great flick. So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We just watched the second one recently. Me and
Mm.
her and my dad we watched it. So.
God, the trailer looks so horrible. Like I love the
It's
first one.
it's not great, but it's not bad.
Okay.
It's still
I
watchable.
loved it. I
Really?
thought it
loved
was
it.
great. I thought the second
I
one was
liked
great.
it.
Well,
It's
you
a
all.
little overstuffed and it's a little bit just a retread of the first one. But
Yeah.
the parts that work really well. So and Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah.
always delivers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
to be fair, Reed, you're also the same guy that loved the Rob Zombie Monsters movie. So,
I love the monsters. It's such a colorful film.
I mean,
Like,
it's a great
I-
looking
you know-
movie, and he did a great
Yeah.
job making it feel like the show. Just none of the jokes connected to me.
Oh goodness.
It is. Look, my 10-second review of the monsters is it is overlong by at least 25 minutes, and the ending is a definite flub. But it is such a good-natured, warm-hearted, colorful film. I
Yeah.
had a heck of a time watching it. So yes, that's me with the monsters.
Which is funny because the last Christmas special you're on, Reed, that was actually my least favorite movie of that year.
Yeah, I mean, look, It's I've been a Munsters fan for many, 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 many years. I was front loaded. The movie would have had to be insulting to the characters for me to not have some goodwill towards it. So I'll
Right.
concede.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so let's get to the plot summary for It's a Wonderful Life according to the Internet Movie Database. An angel is sent from heaven to help a desperately frustrated businessman see the value of his own life.
Well, who are you? I told you, George, I'm your guardian angel.
What is it you want, Barry? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Sentimental hogwash. I wish I had $1 million. Hot dog! Mr. and Mrs. Martini, welcome home.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
Merry Christmas!
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
So, since this is actually a first time watch for Mr. Sawyer, I'll let him start. How did you find out about this movie? And what is your quick overall thought before we get into the deep dive?
So I was introduced to this movie after finding out that it's one of my father's favorite movies, and I found out he was gonna watch it for this episode, so he invited me to watch it, and so I watched it with him, and I loved it. It was it was a beautiful movie. I think it's my favorite movie of all time, and
Awesome.
Wow.
I say that a lot.
Sawyer, I believe that the Friday Night at Freddy's movie was your favorite movie of all time at one point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
To be fair, when you're like Sawyer's age, like it's pretty cool when every movie is your favorite
Your
movie
first,
of all time.
yeah.
That means you're only going up and up and up and up and
Right.
up.
Especially
When
this
you
first
get to the
time.
movies that really disappoint you, that's when you start to get
Oh,
jitty.
yeah.
Yeah, don't let them rib you too much. You can have as many movies as you want.
Mhm. I mean, Space Jam was one of my favorite movies of all time when I was a kid.
That's
Hey,
Hey, I
you
just
know.
I just made a 30-second defense of the Munsters. Like, love what you love, like
Exactly.
Exactly.
like
no shame
that's
here.
how I
No
navigate
shame.
life, like
Yeah.
love what you love.
What about you, Reed? How did you find out about this movie, and what are your quick overall thoughts?
So, I mean, this movie has been in the atmosphere for my whole life. I don't remember my first time viewing it when I was growing up. It was during the season, which this is an oft quoted anecdote, that because it had temporarily slipped into the public domain, networks would air it ad nauseum at Christmas time because they didn't have to pay rights for it. So I was growing up, adolescent and young teen, while that was still the case. The film has now, been properly copyrighted, and the rights restrictions are a little bit different now. But during when I was growing up, like, it was just around Christmas time, it was constantly on. So I think probably my first 4 or 5 viewings of this film were from different points inside of the movie. Like, at some point, I would just jump in when it was on and just pick up the story in pieces. And I don't think it was till I was in my late teens that I actually sat down and end to end watched it. And I was really struck by how, like, dark and complex its themes were. I was disarmed by how complicated its characters were, particularly George. George is a bit of a complex guy, not always a likable guy, and I kind of admired that it took those swings. And then I felt like the last 45 minutes just wrecked me, just absolutely destroyed me, and in a good way. And so ever since then, it's been a contender for one of my favorite movies as the years have gone on, and as I've reached George Bailey's, gotten closer to George Bailey's age and had more of his experiences. I understand a little bit more of the shoes that he's walking in, and so the film means more and more and more to me as time goes on, and that's why it's so high in my favorites list. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. Um, and then I'll go to you next, Mom or Robin. Um, how did you find out about this movie, and what are your quick overall thoughts?
Just very similar to what Reed just said. I don't ever remember well, the movie didn't excuse me, didn't come out for me. I just, as a young child, it was always on the TV around Christmas time. It was always on. And I will piggyback in saying that I just now sat down with Drew and watched the movie from front to end for the very first time, because I've
Oh.
never
Oh,
seen
really?
it at one time, because it's just, like Reed was saying, it was just on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I would just start watching it, and I would watch it from whatever point it was to the end, or I don't know, I had something else I needed to do and get up. So I never really saw the entire movie, the entire story, really.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very interesting for me. I probably am going to be different than everybody else on this panel. I did not like the movie. I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, so we can dive deeper into that.
Interesting.
I am so curious.
Hot take.
I'm genuinely very curious. Yes.
Me too.
All right, Jackson. How do you find out about this movie, and what is your quick thoughts?
I mean, the same way everybody else found out about it, it just was always on TV. And of course, if my mom were here, she could vouch for this, but my parents are both really into movies. They're into different kinds of movies. Like my dad is more the John Wayne movies person. My mom is more the Jimmy Stewart movies kind of person. So she probably is the one that showed me this one. And when you're a kid, I probably watched it when I 5, 6 years old or something like that. Of course, when you're a kid, you don't really understand anything that's going on in the movie. I'm still not sure about some of the stuff going on in the movie with regard to how the building and loan operates, and why if they close their doors by 6 p.m. they'll never reopen again, that sort of stuff. But when I was a kid, even at a very young age, the moment that Clarence shows up and says, "You've got your wish, you've never been born," like, what? Your imagination immediately is captured by it, and the sort of uh, weird desolation of the sequence that follows. It stuck with me to the point where when I caught up with the movie again a little bit later in life, I had remembered that being a much larger part of the movie than what it actually is. I was like, oh, that's the whole movie, right? Like that's like at least the last half of the movie. Now it's like the last, what, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
30
minutes,
tops. Yeah.
something like that. So, but it lived in my imagination, and over the years I've revisited it again and again and again. And yeah, it's one that I just absolutely adore. So I'm really interested to see why Robin doesn't like it.
All right, you're up next, Mr. Eric.
Yeah, I mean, along the same, we're just all repeating, I think, ourselves. We watched this as a kid.
Right.
It was on TV all the time. I will say this, I'd misremembered a lot of things, like from the time I watched it as a kid to when I watched it, maybe 20 years ago as like an adult. I remember like seeing George Bailey like on the bridge at the very beginning for some reason, like when Clarence and the other angels are talking about him. I remember like he was already like on the bridge hanging over, and that's how they introduce him. And I know that's not in the movie, but that's just in my mind. I've combined a bunch of different scenes together. So I completely misremember this movie from the time I was a kid to the time I became an adult.
Okay.
I don't know. I like this movie. It is not a movie that I revisit a lot. I did enjoy revisiting it for this podcast, but I probably haven't watched it in like 10 years.
Mm.
I'm probably somewhere in between
Hmm.
everybody. So on Robin on the bad end, and then everyone on the high end, I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I love parts of this movie, and there are parts of this movie. And honestly, the end to me doesn't quite hit as well as I think it used to.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wow.
But we'll get into it.
This is not the group I thought I was getting into tonight. Wow.
I love an interesting conversation. I am so
This is going to be
thrilled. I am
interesting
so
for
thrilled.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, especially on our Christmas special.
Right?
Yeah, so we normally agree on those movies.
Lots of tears. It's not Christmas till someone cries.
But no, I have a very unique way of of how I found out about this movie. It was actually I was a big, and I still am. I'm a big fan of Batman the animated series. There's a
Okay.
period, maybe like for like half a year or maybe a year, because I was homeschooled for most of my life, where I would get up early, make breakfast, and then watch Batman the animated series. One of the first episodes for that was Christmas with the Joker, and they mentioned It's a Wonderful Life because Robin
Yeah.
Okay.
lost it, and he says,
He could never get past the title.
"Yeah, I love that. That's funny." And then and then Batman said, or Bruce says, "It's not relentlessly cheery, is it?" And he's like, "Oh no, you're gonna love it. It's about how one man can turn a town around." Sounds familiar?
Mm.
Because Batman. Oh, and what's really funny was there was a second Christmas episode of Batman the Animated Series that ends with that famous New Year's song that I can never pronounce.
Auld Lang Syne?
Yeah, that one.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever heard of that song too. It was just funny because
Okay.
that's the song that ends this movie.
Right.
Yeah, so it all goes back around to Batman.
Always goes back around to
Yeah,
Batman.
and my second favorite Christmas movie is Batman Returns.
Mm.
Can relate everything to Batman.
Dude, Batman's cool.
He's wearing a Batman shirt, so we can kind of expect
He's got a
this.
Batman Christmas sweater on,
Yeah.
basically.
You know why? Because I'm Batman.
Okay.
All right,
Y'all
so
don't
you
even know he's been doing that since he was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old. Like Batman has never left. Yeah.
Mm.
yeah, it only got escalated when like The Dark Knight came out.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
That's how it really accelerated, and that's how I got into like the comics and stuff. But yeah, so our deep dive, as you guys know, isn't very structured, just whatever you guys want to talk about.
Right.
All right, so I think there's an obvious first place we have to go.
Mhm.
And the first thing I want to hear is either from Eric or Robin, likely Robin. I
Yeah,
would
what
love
is
to
wrong
know
with you? That's the question.
what
What's wrong
what
with your
is
mom? Seriously.
if you're able to kind of begin to pick out what didn't work for you about the movie or what didn't you like about the movie. I'm very, very curious.
Well, clearly I'm a bah humbug, according to everybody. No, well, one, there's several things, but we can hit on some, and then please, if you guys have something to say about that, feel free.
Mhm.
Jump in. One, it's too dang long.
Mm.
So that messes me up. And it's not just that it's too long, and it's probably, well, I'll put a little side note in there. It's probably because older films were slower than our films today. So for me to go
Mhm.
back and watch an older film that the story didn't resonate with me made it seem even a longer, slower, drawn out story. I think they could have put that in 30 minutes or less. Story told, done, I'm out. For me, it was too dang long.
I mean, to some degree, I kind of agree with you. Like to what Jackson was kind of getting at too, was that like our third act is like the Potterville stuff, And it really maybe should have gotten to that before. I love personally, really like the first hour and a half of the movie and less the Potterville stuff in my mind.
Yeah.
But I don't. I to me, I like all the stuff watching George grow up and everything. But as far as the story goes, like it takes a really long while to kind of get going.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It is all this sort of like vignettes of a man's life. So I could
Yeah.
see how that would be like, yeah. What's
So-
happening?
But I will give it that I do understand that you have to see his life and
Sure.
see how he grew up and see what was happening to him for you to understand why he had the breakdown on the bridge like he did when he did. So, I mean, I do get why you needed to see all that. Maybe they just could have done it shorter. I'm not sure. It just, but there were also just other little things that I couldn't get past. And true knows, I nitpick movies. So just so y'all know, I don't like a lot of movies. So this is just, to me, it shouldn't be a surprise that I'm not crazy about this movie. Who was his friend? Sam?
Yeah.
I think it was Sam. I do have
Sam
notes.
Wainwright.
Sam Wainwright.
The whole hee-haw stuff. I would cringe every time they would do the hee-haw. I'm like, they should have come out with something better for those two friends to say to each other than hee-haw. Maybe it was something in the 19 whatevers when this movie was made. I have no idea, but the hee-haw.
Well, now I'm gonna just start doing that. I'm gonna start doing that now. Just to
You'll
bug
walk
you.
around doing hee-haw. It's okay. I will start saying I'm Batman. So
Now they would say like 6, 7 or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. But my biggest thing is, as somebody touched on it, they did have. I do think that now watching the whole thing, cover to cover, if you will, they with the character development, though it actually made me like George less. I didn't like the way he treated people. I mean, I know he had good points, but I felt like he had more bad points, if you will, than good points. I know we shouldn't judge people on good and bad points, but I'm just saying cinematically, it didn't let me really like him or fall in love with him or want him to get the help. So that was really my biggest thing. I don't know if it's,
See, we don't have to get into it right now, but I actually have a counterpoint to that very idea. Yeah. We can get into that later.
Yeah, I
after
mean,
everybody-
it's very deep, and I know Reed touched on that. There is a lot of deepness you can go in that, but y'all asked that on the surface that was what I didn't like, but we can get into the nitpicky with
I'm gonna pivot here. Sawyer made a couple of similar comments about the difference between the first hour and a half ish of the movie. So I don't want to speak for you. Go for it.
I will agree that like the first half did feel kind of slow for me, and it did feel a little long, but it's just primarily, I mean, it's not, I don't think the first hour is bad. I just think it's a little long, it's a little slow, but I do definitely think that last 30 minutes with the angel stuff that's what kind of got me.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I can see where you're coming from. There are definitely parts before that I like. I love, when they're coming, when he's walking Mary home from that dance. That's a lot of fun. Honestly,
That has what I think is the funniest line in the whole movie, where he goes, "This is a very interesting situation." So funny the way he delivers that.
But other than the ending, my favorite scene in this whole movie is when it's like right after the dad dies, and Mr. Potter is basically talking trash about him. And Jimmy Stewart goes, well, people were human to him, and he treated them humanely, and and he died a richer man than you ever will be. I love that, because it's all about kindness. You can have all the money in the world, and be a terrible person, or he could be the most beautiful looking person in the world and just be a terrible person. Like to me, Kim Kardashian, I think she's absolutely gorgeous. She's a spoiled little brat, in my opinion. And I would never date somebody like that, to be
I don't
honest.
know. Based on the way she's been the past few years, I think she's made a lot of improvements to herself and her life.
Okay, well, I don't care enough
Well,
about her
If
to.
you read up on her now, like she's like been studying the law and trying to like actually help people. So that's
mhm.
maybe not a great
Well,
example anymore. Um,
I do think though that something you've said though, Drew, touches on one of the things I find the most interesting about George Bailey as a character. We
Mm.
had this conversation with some friends who were hanging out with us this past weekend. I'm going to spin it in a slightly different way than that conversation here, but I do think there's an important difference, though we often equate these two things, there's an important difference between niceness and kindness. I
mm,
consider George Bailey to not be a very nice person, but he is a very kind person. When the chips are down and when he sees someone in trouble, he never hesitates to step in, even at personal sacrifice to himself, to
Mm.
help them in that moment. And that is, to me, that is kindness. But
yeah.
I think one of the reasons I love him so much as a character is we often equate that if somebody's kind, they're going to be nice.
Mm,
And I
Mm,
don't think that's necessarily always true. And I think it's the
correct.
converse is also true. Sometimes nice people are not very kind. You look at
Mm,
Mhm.
Potter, and yes, Potter was an old crotchety grouch, but look at the way that he tried to schmooze George into a job. He was
yeah.
telling him so much that he wanted to
mm.
hear and offering
Mhm.
him the world.
Being
And
very
you know he was,
complimentary of him at the
Interesting.
same times. Like, you're so
yeah,
smart,
exactly.
you're ambitious,
Mhm.
you're the kind of person that I
Exactly.
really need to
Yeah.
manage my affairs.
Exactly. He was being very nice to him, but not showing him very much
Mm,
kindness. And I think, and Drew, or not Drew, sorry, Jackson. I don't want to accidentally steal your thunder if this is if this is close to the point that you're going to make here. But one of the things I will say is that one of the reasons why I think this is really important is we cannot forget that from the moment his father died, George is also depressed. He's also a depressed
Yeah.
person. I'm not saying
Mhm.
he has diagnosable depression. That's a very different thing. I'm not trying to tread too deeply into that waters, but I think it's fair in the world of the film to say that he's discouraged. He's depressed
mm,
by the disarming choices that have caused his life to go absolutely the opposite way he wanted it to go. And I
Mhm.
think it is sometimes very difficult for people who are feeling despair, though they may, as George does, hold on to their fundamental kindness in their
Mhm.
behavior. It's
Mhm.
very difficult for those people to like the things around them. Like it is sharp. A couple of times, my wife had seen the film before, but a
Mhm.
couple of times through the course of the film, both Sawyer and my wife during his rant at the house, why do we have to have all these kids? Suddenly, I
Yeah.
heard a couple of little whoa,
Mhm.
like
That
like
scene is
hold the phone,
rough.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
But
and it's
it'd
like
been building up to that point. It had been
yeah.
to hitting a boiling
yes,
point. Yeah.
yeah,
And I
Yeah.
think
and the last little point. Oh, just sorry, real quick. The last little point I'll say about that is that I think we've all been in the throes of big feelings where we say something that
Mm,
we're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I just said that. I cannot believe
Mhm.
those words just came out of my mouth. Sorry, that finishes my point.
yeah.
Didn't mean to cut you off, Robin.
oh no, I was going to agree with you in that when when I was first watching it, it just really hit me hard in the heart, really, when I saw
Mhm.
like he wanted to have all these big dreams and he wanted to travel, he wanted to do all this stuff, and every time he would almost be able to do it,
Mhm.
something would happen, like what you were saying, his father died, but then he gets married and him and Mary are gonna go, almost makes it.
Mhm.
To the
It's
train. Yeah.
yeah, so that just tugged at my heart because I mean, I know I'm older than everybody else
Mm,
on this panel, but I grew up very similar to that in that you listen to what your parents said. Like
Mhm.
for me, it was I'm a female. I mean, fancy that. But it was, oh yeah, I am the only female. Dang, I wish your mom was here. Sorry.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
But for females, it was, what is your ambition? I mean, we did have higher education, thank you, back then, but it was, your goal really was to find a man, get married, have children. I mean, that
I mean,
that
yeah,
was what was
Yeah.
supposed to fulfill you as a woman.
Mm.
And
that's what
so
happens to Mary. Yeah, and then in this movie is that she becomes a maid, right?
yeah,
Like because she doesn't have George. I don't.
so
I do sort of bristle at that part
Mhm.
because I don't think, although we don't see the rest of her life in
True.
that situation. She might be very happy being an unmarried woman and just working at the library.
That's true.
She sure
Plenty
does
of
not
women
look
would
happy.
enjoy that life. So
but I
Sorry, we
did
cut you off, Robin. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I resonate with that because I had those very moments in my life as well where, I followed the path that I thought my parents wanted me to go on. And then I later, look back and went, wow, that's, if I would have really had my choice, that's not the path I would have taken. Um,
Right.
so that did pull at my heartstrings for George. Even though probably overarching, I didn't like him as a person, but he was very complex. I will definitely agree with that because he had those moments that really made me like, I was rooting for him.
Yeah. So
Oh, sorry, but then the yelling at the kids because somebody brought that up.
that's
I
tough to watch.
really think
Really
that
tough.
all the other breakdowns that he had, yelling at the people at the bar, yelling at the people on the street, the guy who he hit his tree and he's yelling at everybody. I probably would have been okay with it, but when he came into that house and yelled at Mary and the children with what they let him say as a character, I was just like, I am out because I really think they could have just had him stop at, he said, like he wasn't paying attention and he was clearly agitated. And then he sat down and he held the little baby, and then didn't want to hold him anymore and then walked away, went upstairs. They should have taken all the rest of that out. And just seeing him in his frustration, his sadness, his crying, his tender moment with his daughter upstairs, I think it just would have resonated a whole lot better. But what he said when he walked in that door, I'm like, dude, all of that stuff can be bothering you out in the world, but that woman has been by your side.
Yeah.
Everything since 12 years old or something. So why are you treating her and those babies that way? Yeah, it took me.
Literally rebuilt that house from the ground up, basically.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It probably should be noted that, we watch it with our sort of modern eyes, but you got to remember this movie came out right after World War II. Like, Jimmy Stewart went to war. He didn't make a movie for 5 years. This was the first thing he made after coming back from the war. And of course, in the story, George notably does not go to war because of his hearing problem. But I think a scene like that really does probably, now I wasn't there, I wasn't alive during this time, but I can only imagine you had these thousands of men coming home from the war. And I imagine there were probably a lot of outbursts like that because of the trauma that they'd experienced. Now, George hasn't experienced that, but he's experienced his own kind of trauma in that he's done everything he possibly can, and everything in his life has stymied him.
Out of his control, sort of thing. Yeah.
And now he's looking at going to prison for something that he didn't even do.
Well, and I think you, Robin,
I don't like watching him unload on his kids like that, but I understand it in a way,
it's important
especially
from the
given
story.
the historical time that this movie came out. Because I imagine that there were a lot of men that came home from the war that probably, said and did some things because of the psychological state they were in.
I
Yeah.
still see it on the female side. Sorry, guys, because I am female.
I mean, I've never gone to war.
Yeah, but like, think about what
that
happened
sort of
to the
perspective
women.
on it.
very much like what you're talking about with her, that she's the one who made that house a home. She's the one who literally
Yeah.
built it. So
Well,
you
that
have
leads to my
the
other
war.
point
It's like
about
all these men come back. Who has been making society run? Who
right.
is keeping the towns running, the businesses open, the
Yeah.
family going?
Mhm.
It's been the women. But as soon as the man walks back into her life or back into town, he's like, okay, baby, go back to the kitchen. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
that's pretty hard.
Well,
But I can see how the dynamic of both, that's a really hard thing. So it wasn't, my point is that it wasn't just hard for the men to come back and to
Mhm.
be in the
right.
war and then to come back into like quote unquote normal life.
Yeah.
It was also very difficult for the women in the same token to
Right.
be in the men's position at the time, running everything, and
Mm.
then being
Yeah.
told, well, you're not worthy anymore. We don't need you.
Mhm.
So it was both. It was hard for both.
Well,
Yeah.
and that leads into the other point I wanted to make, which I referenced earlier but didn't actually make. So, has anybody ever watched a guy on YouTube called The Nerd Writer?
Never
Mm-mm.
heard of him.
He does video essays, short form, like, 10-minute kind of video essays. Well, years ago, he did one on this movie, and he pointed out something that I had never thought about with this movie
Mm.
before. And that even though George is the main character, and then you have Potter is by, easily the villain of the piece,
Mhm.
but the foil to Mr. Potter is not George Bailey. The foil to Mr. Potter is Mary Hatch.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mary is the one, and it's really George is the focal point. He is what they are doing battle over. And Mary, of course, by extension, represents so much else of the town of Falls, the people who do all of the, living and working and dying in this town.
Uh-huh.
Mary is kind of the vessel that all of the goodness of Bedford Falls is kind of encapsulated in. And so it's notable every time you have a scene where Potter does something awful, George goes back and we see Mary and she does something good. You
Mm.
know, it's Mary that on the day of their honeymoon holds up $2,000 and says, "How much do you need?" And I had never thought about it that way before, that Mary is the counterpoint to Potter and
Mm.
not George.
Mm.
Well, and there
So,
is a couple of other things that I'll just yes and you on. There is Mary. I've seen a lot of these kinds of films, and unless it's a screwball comedy,
Mhm.
um, there are a lot of films where the woman is very much passive. And I think one thing that I admire about the film, though this is not in disagreement with your point, Robin, one thing I admire about the film is Mary is a very active person. Like the
mhm.
moment that George storms out of the room, instead of sulking in despair, she gets on the phone and calls Uncle Billy. And it's like, what's going on? We don't hear the conversation, but that's what she does. And then
Yeah.
when the townspeople come back in, Uncle Billy points to her and says, "Mary did it, George. Mary did it." Like she's the one who
Mhm.
got all these telegrams out. She's the one who got this word out to all these people. And like I said, this is not a refutation of your point, Robin, which I think is very well put and very well
Yeah.
made. But I do appreciate that Mary is given a tremendous amount of agency in her
Mhm.
situation. She doesn't need permission to do what she does. She simply goes and does it because she loves him. And one of the things that I do appreciate, though I'll never be able to see it from a woman's perspective, one of the
Right.
things that I do appreciate is I appreciate that she doesn't seem to view his outbursts, which, Robin, you pointed out the outburst at the end of the kids, but I'll point to one that I find harder to stomach, and that's when he goes over to her house
Oh, yeah.
after he finds out Harry comes back.
That's rough.
I actually find that one harder to stomach than because when he lashes out at his kids, he is literally staring down the barrel of the possibility that his life is over, that this life that he has fought so hard so there could be extenuating circumstances where you could at least provide context and say like, look, dude, you shouldn't have said all those things, but that is about as rock bottom as that character is going to get.
Right.
Versus when he has that outburst when he goes to kind of, visit Mary, a couple of times I'm like, dude, if I was Mary, I'd be like, you
Yeah.
missed
Yeah.
the boat, man. Like,
Yeah.
Who
needs
that
this
kind
guy?
of
Mary
thing.
Sam Wainwright.
Right.
But, she has a choice. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't have to marry him, stay with him.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that also comes to the fact
but I had
one of the problems that I have with this is that you're right. Mary does have agency, and George is kind of terrible to her at multiple points, and he never apologizes. Like him running in at the end after he had yelled at them all and like had this life-changing experience, he just yells "Merry Christmas" at them. He doesn't say "I'm sorry for how I treated you guys" like an hour ago.
What about that?
He just is just like,
Well, I'm gonna ring a bell on that, and Robin, then I'd like to come back to you because it sounded like maybe you had more to say on that subject, but I will ring the bell on that. It's not a proper apology, but his breakdown does not end with him storming out of the house. Like he realized
He does
he comes
apologize.
to his senses.
oh, does he?
And
I can't
he
remember.
and he says sorry to everybody. Now, he's still doing it in the throes of a bit of despair. He's still doing it. And one of the things, going back to your point, Robin, Mary doesn't let him off the hook. Like he apologizes in that moment and she calls him out and she's like, George, like, what are you doing? And I forget the exact line, but she doesn't let him off the hook and it's just like, it's okay. We understand. Like she kind of shelters, I forget the child's name who's playing the piano, but she kind of shelters that child who's crying and gives him a pretty stern look. Like, who do you think you are with all this? And it is that despondency that he can't even make right what he's just done that sends him out the door to go drinking. And then that's when, of course, Mary calls Uncle Billy and all the rest of the things progress. But just, I don't view him as never having apologized. I just view it as like he came to his senses. His apology wasn't proper. I don't think it was a fair or reasonable apology. He doesn't really like own what he's done. He just realizes, oh crap, I've just broken a bunch of stuff here. And so then that way when he does return, it's after he's been missing for a few hours. They don't know what's happening, and I think there's just so much jubilation at, oh, he's okay, he's back. He's back. That's the main thing. Plus she's got half the town coming in about to shower them with money. So
So I know we've been kind of talking a lot. I kind of want to get some of your thoughts on some of the stuff we're talking about Sawyer. Do you have any opinions about George Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not usually one to go really deep into things, but I do think that he learned a very valuable lesson at the end on like trying to think. He learned that not to do that, not to jump off of a bridge. That's
do you remember,
easiest way I can.
as a possible prompt for you, do you remember what Clarence wrote in the book? Do you remember what he wrote in the book? Where he said, no man is a failure who has friends?
Yes, I do remember that.
Does that make you, I don't know if that sparks anything for what you were trying to say or not. It doesn't have to.
I am not really old enough to come up with really deep thoughts yet, so
You are fine. Then come up with Sawyer thoughts. They're totally fine.
Yeah.
that's also hard.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not one that usually goes into deep
Well,
stuff.
if you don't mind, it's not the Sawyer and Reed podcast, but if you don't mind, I will ask you a question. So, how did it feel when when he was doing all of those things to his family, to the people that were that had, to Robin's point, stood by him the whole time? Like, how did that make you feel?
Well, when he was getting mad at everybody and yelling at everybody, I was just like, oof, that's that's rough.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then how did it feel? One thing I will point out, just observing when you were watching the film, is you started to make all of the connections as he was finding out things that had been changed by the fact that he had never been born. Things like his brother had died, so all of those people on the transport hadn't made it and everything. And that some of that really clicked for you. I will remember one moment, and if you can't put it into words, that's okay. But towards the end, when all of the people came and then Clarence got his wings, I remember you specifically said like, "Okay, that got me." Talk about how that made you feel.
Well, when I forget which of the girls it is, but one of the girls, George is carrying her, and the tree gets like the tree shakes, and
Zuzu.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the bell rings, and Susie says, "Look, Daddy, the bell is ringing." Our teacher said that every time the bell rings, an angel gets its wings, and I was like, yeah, that's great, because I remembered them saying that earlier in the movie. That is the only time that I got close to getting emotional. That was a really
Mm.
sweet.
Oh man,
Like
I'm right with you, Sawyer. I know we haven't gone into favorite part and least favorite part yet. But that's absolutely my favorite part of the movie when he sees Clarence's copy of Tom Sawyer. He opens it up and he sees the message of, remember George, um, no man is a failure, who has friends or whatever it was. And he says, by the way, thanks for the wings. And then the bell on the Christmas tree rings, and then the daughter goes, look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. Oh my gosh. And then Jimmy Stewart's like reaction to that. He's like, yeah, that's right. That boy, Clarence. And then you sing that New Year's song. Man, that
Mm.
just gets me
Yeah.
every single time. Because that's what it's about, man. It's like what we talked about when me, Eric, and Reed did our Muppets Christmas Carol review. It's about community and being around people that you care about. It's not
Sure.
about, yes, I love giving presents on Christmas and getting presents, but that's not the main point. The main point is
Yeah.
community. No matter what your religious belief is, if you're religious, if you're not religious, if you're atheist, whatever, like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what life is about. It's
Yeah.
about community.
Hmm.
Yeah, the community stuff got me as well. I mean, in that actually those two really to me pivotal moments when they were going to go under and everybody had rushed in and was going to
Hmm.
take all their money out, and then he talked to them and they only took what they needed. And then there at the end where they all just showed up to the house and was like,
Hmm.
throwing the money around like a ticker tape parade. But which is cool. I wish somebody would come to my house and do that. Just saying. And, I think I know that there's those underlying, and everybody I think has touched on it, that what did you say, Reed? He was not
He
kind,
was not he was
he was
not nice, but he
kind,
was kind.
right.
Yes.
So I know that the reason why the people did that was because he was kind.
Mm.
He's just rough around the edges. But I
Yeah.
actually resonated more with how the community, not the character of George himself, but the community, how they all took care of each other.
Mm.
Because it wasn't
Mhm.
just George. I mean, there was so many other small moments
Mm.
where
Hmm.
like it wasn't even like they didn't even make a big deal of it, but that the community were taking care of each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
This
resonated
movie
with.
has a
Something
lot
I
of
like.
wonderful
I like that.
details like
Mm.
that.
Hmm.
So,
This
Yeah.
actually led to an FBI memo at the time, claiming the movie might be communist propaganda
what?
Mhm.
because it's all about
Yes.
the collective, and then the evil villain is the banker,
I mean, to be fair, it
the
was post
capitalist.
World War II, so.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just
Yeah.
at the beginning of the Cold War, but the FBI actually
I
put out a memo saying to cautioning that this movie might be communist propaganda.
I
So
I
I got
must
sorry.
oh, no, 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 Drew, you can go ahead.
So I got 2 points I want to make. One about community, and then one about George's character.
Mm.
The community, the theme of community and friendship that gets me is the first scene when everybody's praying for George. That is so
Mm.
beautiful, and it makes me think of every time I have issues in my life since I met you, Reed, that you would pray for me. I
Hmm.
remember, I think it was like the day before or the day that I had my interview for Best Buy, which I didn't end up getting the job. I remember you said you prayed for me, or you've been praying for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's just so beautiful, and and I really
Oh,
appreciate
of course.
you being a friend I can go to, and not just you, but Eric and Jackson and a mom. Like it's just I don't know. It's good
Yeah.
to have people that support you in life.
Well, and
Now,
yeah,
oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
So
Well, I will interject with apologies. I will interject. First of all, thank you for your kind words. But yeah, it's like the opening where they pray for him.
Hmm.
I think one of George's problems is that he doesn't realize how loved he is. He can't see it. He
Mhm.
can't see how loved and accepted and welcomed he is. And I think that's something that a lot of us experience where we're just like, there was this recent, I don't want to get us on a side tangent, but there was this recent occurrence where Quentin Tarantino had like said a couple of disparaging things about some actors.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I will point out that there was an interview that Ethan Hawke did
Hmm.
about that whole incident where Ethan Hawke made a comment. He said, "Hey, uh, those actors probably never realized how much people loved them." But in response to the negative comment about him,
Yeah.
suddenly there's this
I love you.
overflow
Outpouring.
of love
Yeah.
and affection of just like, oh, they're one of my favorite actors. Like, hey, here's a picture of me with that wonderful actor.
Hmm.
And and Ethan Hawke was saying like they may how rare an opportunity that is. They may not have
yeah,
known
the one that
how
really
much they were loved.
Yeah.
the one that pissed me off was and of course I mean I love Paul Dano. I think he's a fabulous actor. Nothing against him,
I
but
know which one pissed you off.
Tarantino went after my boy, Mr.
Oh yeah.
Stumacher,
Not
Saggy,
acceptable.
Matthew Lillard. You do not go after Matthew Lillard.
That's right.
Screw you,
Um
Tarantino. I love you as a filmmaker. Some of the stuff I like what you say. Some of the stuff like this
I
that
mean,
talked all messed up.
he
he
was
was a
off
kook.
base.
He's always been a kook.
Yeah, he's a mixed
Yeah.
What are
bag
you
for
gonna
me
do? It's
as a
Um
person.
Tarantino.
just real quick, Sawyer nudged me that he had something he wanted to say, and then I want to get back
Mm.
to your second point, Drew.
I just wanted to briefly say that what he was saying about what like George how George didn't realize how loved he was, that was the valuable lesson that I was trying to say earlier. That's what I was
Mm,
trying to get through
right.
Mm.
to
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, to go on my counterpoint about my mom saying that George Bailey is, not the best character, maybe so, but I think that what makes him interesting for me is
I'd
because
agree with that.
he's a man who is constantly at war with himself, that he
Yeah.
wants to go out into the world and be like this great explorer and be featured in the National Geographic. But like he wants to honor his father, and his father even says to him, um, when George tells him, like, I want to do something important in this world, and his father says, George, I feel like in a small way we are doing something important. You know,
Mm.
by owning this building and loan, company, like they're building community, and that's great.
Yeah, and that's his whole thing is he wants to build things. He wants to build
Mm,
skyscrapers and a bridge a mile long and he never gets to do those things, but he has built a community. He's
Hmm.
built homes for
mm.
people and gotten them out of the slums. So, are you done with your point? Because I just wanted to
Oh
touch
yeah,
on
I was
something real
done.
quick. Okay. So every year, my parents a bunch of people from their church go and sing Christmas carols at this little retirement community. And I've gone with them a few times. I went with them this year, like last week. And we came to the song "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," which is, of course, that's the song that his daughter, is it Janie?
I
Hmm.
don't
Janie is
know.
his daughter in the movie. She's practicing it on the piano. And,
Yeah.
he yells at her and tells her to stop playing, and then she stops playing, and everybody gets upset, and then he yells at her to start playing again. But we were singing that song at the retirement place the other night, and I got to these lines of the song, and like my heart stopped.
Hmm.
Like I couldn't get through these lines. And I think the movie chooses this song because it's got angels in it. It's
Hmm.
about angels announcing the birth of Jesus, and um, but the lines that really got me, and these are lines about the birth of Jesus, but I really see a lot of George Bailey in them, and that is when it says, "Mild he lays his glory by, born that men no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth."
Hmm.
And that's what George has done he's laid his glory by. He never does any of these things that will make him rich and famous. He doesn't become like Sam Wainwright, he doesn't get in on
Hmm.
plastics. Uh, but we learn when they visit Harry's grave in the alternate reality that, Harry went to war and saved all these people on a transport by shooting down some kamikaze jets. And George wasn't there. George doesn't have any medals, but in the alternate version, Harry was not there because George wasn't there to save Harry when he was a child.
Hmm.
Right.
And the way that George is, if he had left, if he had left Bedford Falls, the building and loan would have closed, and all those people would have stayed in Potter's slums.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so, while George isn't Jesus, he's not here to bring salvation to mankind. He does sort of offer a kind of salvation
Hmm.
to the people around him.
Hmm.
And yes, he does it in a way that's very imperfect and sometimes very hard to watch. And he's despondent and he's sometimes mean,
Well,
but
isn't that the whole point of Jesus? That, I mean, of course, people have different beliefs and whatnot, but
right,
according to the Bible, I mean, in Christianity, like he's the Son of God,
right.
but he didn't look special. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's nothing special
Right.
about his appearance at all. But yet he
Right.
yeah,
still
And
happens to
that's
perform miracles.
directly, yeah, that's directly called out in scripture that there was nothing about him unique to his appearance that would draw people to him. I think one of the things that I really love, so first off, I breathed a big sigh of relief about 30-40 minutes ago because I've heard some takes on this film from people who don't like it. And thankfully, Robin, all of yours made perfect sense to me. I was really hoping that because one of the takes, and if somebody on this panel agrees with this, then it is totally fine. But one of the things that I have heard is I've heard a take on this film where they say it is about like keeping people in their place, and that it's about
Mhm.
like, ooh, don't don't be ambitious. Ambition is wrong and everything. And to
Yeah, I've heard that
me,
too.
Hmm.
yeah, and to me, this is a bit of a bold statement, but I think people who think the film is about anti-ambition are not paying
Hmm.
attention to the film. There are some very ambitious people and successful people in this film that are praised. Yes, Potter is a wicked and evil man, but Sam Wainwright, also profoundly wealthy, is
Sure.
not. And Harry,
He's incredibly generous.
incredible, yeah, incredibly successful. Those people are not. So
Hmm.
so the film does not attack the notion of ambition. What I think the film does is something that's a bit trickier, and I think it pulls it off. is that George says, I want to do something important. Drew, you mentioned this scene with his father. He says, I want to do something important. And his dad says, I think what we do is important. George doesn't believe that. George thinks that what he does is penny ante stuff for a penny ante town. And he thinks he's not important. And to me, one of the things that I find so beautiful about the film is that at the end of it, George has spent his whole life feeling like he didn't get the chance to be important. And when the scales fall off his eyes at the end, he realizes, "Oh my God, I have always been important. I have always mattered. I've always meant something." And
Right.
the amount of times that people think because of poor choices or because of poor circumstances or because of whatever, they reach this point to where they think, I don't matter and I've never mattered and I'm not important. How desperately I wish Clarence Oddbody of a sort would come and be like, oh no, like like stop for a moment and realize
Sure.
how much you matter and how important you are. You know, one of my heroes is Mr. Rogers. And of course, Mr. Rogers, one of his very famous phrases was just, I like you the way you are. Like, I just like
Yeah.
you for you, you know? And I think that while the film does take a long and winding road to get there, and while I think George is a much more complex character than the people we would automatically be warm and root for towards, I love the fact that and I feel like it earns it. I think that's the thing, is I feel like it earns it at the end because George is not simply somebody who is, you know, like he's not simply the nice guy who never catches a break. He can't
He's
catch a
not
break.
Forrest Gump. He's the
Yeah.
opposite of Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Right.
He's not overtly simplistic, but there's this hard-earned feeling of like, yeah, your life has had texture. Your life has had complexity to it. But when you get to the end of it, you look around and you realize, oh my God, look at all of these things, these seeds that I planted. And I had no idea all these years how many trees were growing out of all those different seeds. And that I think is something that honestly we kind of desperately need right now. I'll say this and then I'll probably hush. That might be my final word on the film, is that right now there's this aggressive push for like doing something that matters, but matters visibly to people, successful for people. And I think we're moving and drifting so far away from the power of what, of course, I'm religious, so I'm going to reference all these things of the power of what the scripture calls like the power of just a cup of cold water, the reward for just giving someone a cup of cold water, simple, small, unadorned things that
Yes, I
never get
totally agree with you,
applause.
Reed.
You know? Yeah, and I feel like if we can find the depth of feeling to sort of drift back into realizing like, no, those little choices may be self-sacrificial, maybe that you even do, and this is what's powerful, maybe you even did it begrudgingly. Maybe your sacrifice was not from the fullness of like, no, I love doing this. George, every sacrifice he makes, he's like, dang it, like I don't want to do this. But even those sacrifices have profound meaning to people because of the way that it ripples out and influences everything else. I think that for me, I find that exponentially powerful when I think
Yeah.
about it. So that's,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
To-
and
to-
because sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because that actually, when the whole thing was over, and a little bit to Sawyer's point as well, just those little kind things that wasn't like you didn't, at the end, it all tied it together. And then you realized the connection for everything. But it made me think about, passing it forward. What is the saying? Oh my gosh, I lost it.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Yeah. Right, where you pass it forward because it's those little things. You have no idea, like you were saying, handing somebody a quarter, handing somebody a cup of water, handing, whatever. You have no idea what effect that's going to have on that person that may have an effect on the next person, which may have an effect on the next person. Kind of like what they showed, in this movie. Think it forward, right? Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what made me think of it at the end. But I'm going to just say one thing. I know, well, Eric knows me. Drew clearly knows me. Jackson and probably doesn't know me well enough. And Reed and Sawyer, y'all don't know me at all. But probably the reason why I didn't like this movie was because I probably see myself so much in George that I can't stand to watch it because I am very rough. No laughing, Eric. I am very rough around the edges. But if anybody needed anything, I would never hesitate for a second to go out of my way, sacrifice myself, to do something for somebody else. But I will probably complain about it.
Or do I now? No, well, on this time last year, when my car kept freaking breaking down, Nissan. Like, you got irritated, but you're happy to help me out.
Yes, I was
all three
extremely
times.
irritated. Very
All three
irritated.
times that the week after Thanksgiving.
But I bought you a car, so you know I'm saying.
Yeah, that I paid for most of it.
I will say along those.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Nope,
I got one thing real quick. This may be the last thing I say on. Well, I got one more thing maybe later, but to along to Reed's point and to Robin's point, I think what makes the movie work well is that, George is relatable. People see themselves in him, and to the point of someone thinking like, oh, I wish I had a Clarence come down and show me my life or what it would be like. I think this movie does that in a lot of ways, where if you're watching this movie and you're empathizing with these characters, you're also by the end of it reflecting on your own life and the impact that other people have on you and that you've had on other people. And so hopefully, I think that's what the main purpose of the movie is in general, is that you're entertained for 2 hours and 10 minutes, but also that in some ways you reflect on many of the gifts and blessings that you've had in your life. And, I think that's what really works for me in the movie. But
cool, man.
And let me be, if in case nobody else says it this holiday season, Robin, let me tell you, every single one of those sacrifices meant a tremendous amount. So all of those things, all of those sacrifices, they have profound value in ways that you will probably never in this life be able to see, shy of an angel jumping into a river for you. But I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, I deeply believe that the simple power of an act of kindness, even one you are not necessarily like happy to do, but it's the choice that matters. It's not necessarily the feeling, it's the choice. It's the choice to say, I'm still going to do this thing. Now, it helps if it comes along with a warm feeling, but the one of the powers of this movie is that it kind of frees you from that. It's like, hey, you don't have to want to do it. You just do the right thing, and it has value. It has incredible value, which again, yes, in case nobody ever tells you that this holiday season, it all matters.
Thank you.
Sawyer, you want to say anything else about this movie before we start kind of wrapping things up?
I think I have said all that I can think of, other than the fact that I love this movie.
Yeah, this movie's great, man. This is honestly my top 30 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, Robin and Eric can just go shove it.
Harsh words
There's
this
room.
Christmas.
I know that was very harsh, but I will not begrudge what you said.
Hey, he does it to me all the time, Mom. He does it to me all the time.
Yeah, well, I expected more from your mom, and I expected.
This guy Jackson derails me the show all the time.
I gotta say, as a dad who loved this movie, I was a bit on pins and needles. I think I said 3 times before we started. I was like, "You are not obligated to like this movie." As my heart broke if he didn't like this movie, But I was like, "You're not obligated to like this movie." And one of the biggest,
I did.
Well, at least you have a family member that liked this movie, because I don't.
Well, I gotta say that, like, when the attaboy Clarence happened, and I looked over, and my tender-hearted, wonderful little son is like tearing up at the attaboy Clarence. I was like, okay, okay, I'll sleep well tonight. It was great. Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, so you ready to wrap up this review and we can do our favorite part and least favorite
I
part?
just had a couple things. I mean, a couple things we didn't even touch on. Like, we haven't talked about how funny this movie is.
It's very funny.
It's so funny. Like, I mean, and of course, Frank Capra came from making comedies. That's how he got his start in the
Yeah, Half
business.
One
And
Night.
then sort of, yeah, it's stuff like that. And that was sort of the zenith of his comedy output. But he got started working as just a joke writer in silent films and stuff like that. Um, but it's got a lot of that sensibility. I mean, there was that line that I quoted earlier. I mean, we haven't really talked about Clarence much at all, aside from just referencing him. But what a funny character. And yet, when he gets serious, there's tremendous gravity when he says, you know, each man's life touches so many other lives. And then he's not doing anything remarkably different with his performance. You know, he's still got a funny voice and a funny face. But when you first meet him, you know, they're in that little shed next to the bridge, and the guy's in there. The guy that looks just like Tim Blake Nelson. It's
Like a
it's
1940s Tim Blake
odd. Like
Nelson.
if you made the movie today, Tim Blake Nelson would play that character.
What guy?
And you know, he's like the guy that's
The
like in the
on the
little
bridge. Yeah, it's one that
bridge.
Yeah,
saves
the
them.
bridge
Yeah.
station worker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he, you know, they're talking, and Clarence starts talking about being an angel, and the guy falls out of his chair. And he also has the line where he's like, "It's against the law to commit suicide round here." Stuff like that. I just love the little moments in this movie, and it's peppered full of them. You know, you've got
Yeah.
Uncle
Uncle
Billy's
Billy
pet crow
falling.
in the
Oh yeah.
office.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
him getting
have
drunk
to-
and
Billy's
falling
really
off screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we
going-
have
Which
to
was
go.
an unscripted moment.
Yeah,
Like
I was
someone just
yeah,
dropped
you
That
can
was
go
not
ahead,
the
Jay.
script.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
It
I'm
was
calling
a
Uncle
crew
Billy
member
saved the
like
tape.
knocked
Yeah.
something over off screen, and the actor, what's his name, Thomas Mitchell, that played Uncle Billy, he improvised that "I'm all right," you know, to cover for the fact that a crew member had knocked over something.
right.
So,
Yep.
No, I'm
very funny stuff.
yeah, I'm with you on that guy would be played by Tim Blake Nelson, and I
He looks just like him. It's crazy.
Yeah. for sure.
The other thing, I mean, if anybody else has anything funny about the movie to bring up,
Oh, my
I guess-
favorite funny part in this movie is when Thor finds out that Mary is pregnant, and then he asks, "Is it a boy or a girl?" And then she just simply
she's
goes,
just like,
"Mm-hmm,
uh-huh.
yes."
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's just so adorable. I don't know.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think my
funny-
favorite funny line is when Clarence is walking out of the bar and he's talking with Joseph. He's like, "How am I doing?" And then he goes, "Thanks." And then a second later, he goes, "I didn't have a drink."
Right.
Yeah.
So, anything else you guys want to say?
I just had a quote I wanted to read. Have y'all? I know Reed's seen this. Eric probably has too. Have y'all seen the movie A Hidden Life?
No, I've never heard of it.
It's Terrence Malick movie from just
Yeah.
2019, I guess, is when it came out. I wish my mom was on here because she has also seen that movie and she can attest to how excellent it is. But it ends with this quote from George Eliot that, you know, obviously it's not writing about George Bailey, the character, but I think it applies. And the quote says, "The growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts, and that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been is half owing to the number who live faithfully a hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs." And then I don't know, watching this movie again for the millionth time, it brought to mind that quote, and I had to go find it because I
Yeah.
had to read it.
Oh, couple more quick points I want to bring up. The whole Potterville segment definitely reminded me of the alternate 1985 from Back to Future Part 2.
It is a little bit like that, yeah. But
And
40
then-
years earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was really funny. And then that whole last 20 minutes when like he doesn't exist, to me, like that felt like an episode of like the Twilight Zone, honestly.
Oh yeah,
It's really, yeah.
Definitely.
And it's shot in such an evocative way. Like there's so much
Mm.
like shadow play going on,
hmm
and
like when they
Mm.
the
go to the
music,
house,
the
it's like
music to the
the
movie changes,
hmm
and it gets very eerie throughout that sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like I mean, that's like 20 minutes of the movie. You know, you had to add then maybe like a 10 more minutes to it. But this could easily be an episode of the Twilight Zone without, you should
Sure.
kind of put in a little bit of context of the character, but
hmm
it easily could be like
Yeah.
if I knew so basically what I'm trying to say is if I knew nothing about It's a Wonderful Life, never heard of it, and I just was channel flipping and I got to that part, I would have thought it was an episode of the Twilight Zone, honestly.
hmm I
Um,
mean, it predates sort of that idea of like multiverses by like a decade or more,
mhm,
which we're still dealing with now as far as like the Marvel universe
Yeah.
goes. So it was kind of ahead of its time in some ways.
yeah, and I love the Twilight Zone. That's in my top five favorite shows of all time.
I
So,
thought
you
that
guys ready to get to favorite part and least favorite part?
Oh, real quick, you might not have heard him. Sawyer's got a quick note to add.
Hmm.
yeah, I just thought that that scene with the Potterville stuff, I actually thought that kind of reminded me of Christmas Carol
Oh yeah.
Mm.
because when the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future is taking Scrooge through all of the different things about like what's
Hmm.
happening,
hmm
what happened in the past, what's happening now, and what's happening in the future. Except the only difference is that the character is actually there and he's like
hmm
physically there and
Hmm.
people can interact with him,
hmm
Yeah.
That's
whereas
a good point.
he wasn't
Wow.
And the
there.
Yeah.
fact that it all happens around Christmas too. Yeah, there's a lot of like I feel like you're right. There's a lot of parallels between
He's like the
Christmas
ghost
Carol
of
and this.
Christmas alternate reality.
hmm
Mhm.
It's the
Well,
the
I made
the
that
the
point.
famous unheard of
Yeah,
ghost.
well, I made that point in our Beetlejuice review for a Halloween special that
hmm
when we talked about our favorite ghosts, and I did the ghosts from Christmas Carol, I pointed out
hmm
that like I think depending on who you are and what your personality is and how you lived your life, I think that ghost is going to be different for everybody. Like I was
hmm
watching the Bill Murray version of that, before we came on here,
hmm
and that's obviously like a comedy, weird version of A Christmas Carol. But like I think that theory applies because he's not playing Scrooge, he's playing Frank Cross, this president of the TV studio. So I think so like it makes sense that like okay, he's in New York, you're gonna have like this real loudmouth, guy, you know, as one of the
Yeah.
ghosts. You're gonna have Carol Kane as one of the ghosts. Which I think he's annoying in that movie, but that's beside the point. That's the only thing I don't like about that movie. But but it would make sense that these events would be different for everybody. So I think
Yeah.
my ghost. So if that scenario happened to me, I think my ghost would be very different than Scrooge's ghost, or
Yeah.
Bill Murray's ghost from the movie Scrooged.
Sure.
And it would be
hmm
different for
Would your
my
ghost just be
mom.
Batman? Would all versions just be
No,
Batman?
they'd be all Batman villains.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you just
It'd
add
be
an
like the
example.
Riddler and the Joker, and then like I don't know, Black Mask or something like that.
Can
hmm
my Jacob Marley be Nev Campbell? Because he's my celebrity crush right now.
Sure, why not?
Or it could be just Ghost. It could be Ghostface. It could be Matthew Lillard.
I think your Jacob Marley would be me and Eric.
Oh, really? You mean
We
William
would show
Marley?
up and do like a Marley and Marley kind of thing.
hmm
Yeah, from
Little
Muppets
song
Christmas
and
Carol.
dance.
Where
Right,
Marley
yeah.
and Marley. Ooh.
hmm
God, I love that movie so much.
Who doesn't?
Yeah,
Probably
that's
Robin.
what is funny because I used to defend the Jim Carrey version of Christmas Carol like for the longest time until we did that episode for the Muppet version. I'm like, man, this is my favorite version of this. This is amazing. The
Muppet one
intensity
slaps.
It's the
of
best.
it
It
takes the
is.
integrity of the story, but it's freaking hilarious.
Where are we? What trail did we go down?
I know we do this
This
all
I
the
know.
time, Mom.
this is just the show. This is how it
Mhm.
works. So
We'll
Um,
get back to it.
but no, but no, let's go around the room. If you don't have anything else to talk about this movie, let's do favorite part and least favorite part. And I'll start with Reed and Sawyer first.
Okay. I'll give you a second to think about your favorite part and least favorite part if you want, unless you want to go first.
There you go first.
Me go first.
Anytime.
You need to think it? Okay. All right. So I'll start with my least favorite part. And for least favorite part, it's definitely the as the kids are saying these days, the crash out moment that he has before he, expresses his love to Mary. Like so that moment for me is I love the character of George Bailey. That is the moment that threatens it. I know that the scene towards the end of the film is more severe, but I feel like I have enough context to sort of understand that moment more so than I do when he's so unkind to her in that moment. And yes, he then falls apart and they confess love to each other, and it's of course it's all happily ever after eventually. But that's probably my least favorite part is his I don't want to get married to anybody and I don't want any plastics and so when he's going off like there, I feel for Mary so much in that moment because I'm like, oh my Lord, like he's a basket case. Like I know you love him, but he's a basket case already. So that's probably my least favorite part. Honestly, I think my favorite part is just the simple opening of the film. There's so much beauty throughout the film, but I choke up. I've seen this movie at least probably 20, 25 times. How many times complete? I don't know, but I'm counting all the partial viewings. But I I choke up every single time when they're saying these little prayers for George. And then it gets to one of his kids and he's like, please God, help my daddy. Like something's wrong. And it's like, oh my God, it gets my heart every single time. And I think something that we've touched on, but just reemphasizing the point that it's like, you never know who's praying for you. You never know who's thinking about you. You never know who's wishing you well. We don't do a great job in life and everything of expressing those kinds of things to each other. And so that moment just gets me. And even more so than they're heard. Yes, of course, I'm a religious guy, so I think all these. But the fact that in this film, in the text of this film, that all of those call outs are heard and responded to I just find deeply moving and meaningful, and so that's my favorite part of it. Have you had enough time to think?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So for least favorite part, there's not a lot that I can think of. I couldn't really think of anything, so I'm just gonna go with his answer and just say when he goes off on Mary before storm or walking out of her house. And for favorite part, I'm gonna have to go the end of the movie, and I'm gonna have to say, um, just that whole scene in general was my favorite part when all of them are coming in and giving them all the money, and when that one guy says, I think he does like a toast or something. He's like a toast to George Bailey, the richest man in town. And it's kind of like that's really cool because before that Mr. Potter was the richest man, so the fact that he sort of
Going back
defeated
to
him
my
was
famous,
cool.
my favorite line in the movie were when George says that because his father treated people like humans, um, it was, he died a richer man than Mr. Potter, whatever it be. So, yeah.
Which a lot of people complain about that for this movie is that Potter doesn't get his comeuppance in the end.
But that's not the point. The point
I
is,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
You know what I
mind
love
that he
about it?
doesn't. That he doesn't?
You know what I love? Yeah. I don't. Not only do I not mind that he love it. Sorry, I know I've already talked too much, but like I don't mind that he doesn't get his comeuppance because screw him. That's why. Because he tried to undermine the whole thing, and he's just out of the picture.
Yeah.
He's just whatever. He's a warped, frustrated old man who's just not part of this equation. You know,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Yeah.
Whereas going back
Plus,
to it
it
would put
also
too much attention on it.
there's always the alternate ending, the
The
lost
SNL.
ending
I was about to bring that up.
from SNL.
Is it really? Okay,
Oh
I
So
yeah.
gotta look that
if you
up
really
afterwards.
need it, it's very funny. You should go
You should
watch it. I'm not going to
go
give it
look up.
away on here,
Yeah.
but
Go
just
look
go
it up.
look
Go
up
look up Lost City.
SNL. It's a Wonderful Life, Lost Ending.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
it's really good.
And did you do your least favorite part, Sawyer? I don't remember.
Yeah.
My least favorite part was the same as my dad's.
Okay. What about you, Mom? Because I'm just curious because you're the only person that just did not like this movie. And here's the thing: like, I can get like Pulp Fiction and like Clerks and some other movies that I like that you don't like, but come on, this movie's amazing. It's just you're bastard, really.
Okay. So, well, okay, I won't put it all together, but one, the way it was shot cinematically, I actually liked for knowing the time that it was actually made. I liked that the way it was put together. Um, Sawyer, you stole my favorite, but I do have two favorites. The very end with that toast and saying to George Bailey, the richest man in town, it's like because it all came, close the circle. We understand what makes a man rich is not, the money that he has in his pocket, just that whole thing and just the whole. Again, like I was saying, it was all about just the community. That's what got me with the movie, was just the whole community coming together. Whether it would have been George or somebody else, just the whole community coming together. So that's my favorite. But Jackson, you hit probably on my favorite part was when they were drying off in that little room. There was so much humor and so much wit that was told that like it you almost missed it. It was that to me is my favorite part because it put just that little bit of light on it before it started to dark again, where it's like now he's gonna see his life and see everything. So I liked that little break in there. That was probably my favorite part because I thought it was super witty. I thought it was my least favorite part of all the other I mean, I know I talked about pretty much the whole movie is my least favorite part, but my least favorite part, because Drew knows like weird things bother me in movies. But when that police officer, when he was running out and the police officer just pulls out his gun,
This bothers me too.
Just
it
starts
was people
firing.
walking around. I was like,
Opens fire into
yeah.
a street.
I was like, that is not even needed in this story at all. Like, why is that there? That was my least favorite.
Well, to be fair, you always dominate every conversation that we have when we leave a movie. Prime example, Sally Oates, because you spent like 15 minutes of a drive home talking about how much you did not like that movie.
Okay, he's right.
I mean, I don't blame you because I mean, it wasn't like what I wanted it to be. But to be fair, it was Chris Stuckman's first feature film debut. I'll give him a pass on that.
But wait a minute, the movies that I really loved that I cried walking out of the theater and couldn't even talk to you because I was terrified that I was going to break down and people were going to look like hurt me or something. I had to wait till I got in the car and I cried for what, like 5-10 minutes before I could even talk to you because I loved the movie and it touched me so. So see, I do have. You're making it sound like I'm a horrible, like hard-nosed person.
And if
like,
anybody doesn't know,
There's a yin and yang. Yeah.
if anybody doesn't know what movie she's referring to that she cried at, it was Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans.
Knew it was gonna come up. I knew it was gonna come up.
Yeah, no, because that's
I
like,
can't even think about it without starting to cry.
I always bring up Spielberg in Batman in almost every episode.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that was fine, but you can move on to somebody else
Yeah.
since I talked too much.
Okay, Eric, what's your favorite part of this movie?
Um, we've kind of danced around it a little bit. My favorite part is like Jimmy Stewart in this movie.
It's
He's
just
really good.
astounding.
Effortlessly charming and really like emotionally available when he needs to be. Like
Hmm.
carries so much of this movie. I mean, a lot of the other characters are in some ways just caricatures. They are just there to help us keep moving along. There's some really good characters in the movie, but like I don't know. Uh, Jimmy Stewart, for as much guff as he gets, like people have been making fun of him endlessly for like the structure of his voice and like how he talks and everything. And so like I don't know. There's something about watching it through this time. I was just like, man, he's really like he carries this movie for me, especially in the first like hour or so.
Yeah.
And through the end. Least favorite part, I'm not crazy about the structure. And we didn't really even get into this a lot. They set up at the top that Clarence is an angel, and then we spend like a good 10 minutes in the final where they're like trying to convince he's like, I got my wings, and they think he's crazy. But it's like as an audience, we's like, we already know that. I don't know. Like that would just rub me. I don't know. It felt like too much. I don't know.
Hmm.
That's my least favorite part.
Yeah. Jackson.
Well, before I do mine, I just want to read the thing that my mom wrote since she didn't get to be here tonight. Um, it's not very long, but this is what she wrote. She says, I've tried very hard to remember the first time I saw It's a Wonderful Life. I read that it was shown on TV first in the mid 70s. I'm positive I've seen it over 50 times and I never tire of its endearing themes. My children
Mm.
grew up seeing this film every year. I heard it was a box office flop as well as nominated for 5 Academy Awards and is much more remembered than the film that topped it that year, which is The Best Years of Our Lives. And
Hmm.
yes, I've seen that one numerous times also, and it's actually quite depressing. I guess my favorite part of the movie, see, even my mom can go on a tangent.
Mm.
Um, I guess my favorite part of the movie is the ending when George realizes how blessed his life has been and his joy is restored despite the fact that he needs to replace the lost money. The look on his face when Zuzu hears the bell ring and he finds the Tom Sawyer novel is such a happy movie moment, not to mention a happy human moment. I always cry. I'll have to agree, it is one of the best. AFI says it's in the top 100 of all time. That's how she ended the message with a shout out to the American Film Institute list. So,
I mean, I like
all right.
AFI, even though they put Wizard of Oz as one of like the best thrillers of all time. I'm like, what? That's not a thriller. That's fantasy. Fantasy
I don't
movie.
know. It's scared a lot of children
Eh.
over the years.
Yeah,
So,
that's
Yeah,
true.
but it's not largely a thriller. The whole thing's not a
What
thriller.
is a thriller?
yeah, that you gotta
That's
adjust,
'Cause
you
it's a
know,
thriller, thriller night.
you know, Die
Mhm.
Hard's a Christmas movie. There we go. Um, okay, so I'm gonna say my least favorite part first because it's such a trivial thing, but there's one scene that just drives me insane every time I see it. Not because of the content of the scene, but because of the way the scene is done. And that's the scene where Uncle Billy is about to accidentally give Potter the money in the bank. And
Mm.
he's talking to Potter about like the headline of the newspaper, Harry's won the Medal of Honor. But it's clear that they had two takes of that scene. And
Mhm.
it's just a two
Hmm.
shot of him and Potter having
Hmm.
a conversation. But they did it two takes, and the camera setup is slightly different, and they keep cutting back and forth between the two, and it's very jarring to watch.
That's what I
Yes.
was trying to
And
point out to you when we were
Yeah,
watching it with the
yeah,
for a
talking.
doing
movie that I think otherwise is technically pretty impeccable,
Mm.
uh,
Hmm.
that scene really bothers me every
There's
time.
there's a couple of those in the second half. There's at least three of them where they've gone from like a medium shot to cut straight into like a wide medium shot to like cut into like a
Yeah.
medium, and like people are in different, like they didn't
But
change their angle up
this
enough.
is
I
like
don't know.
two medium shots, but they're
Hmm.
slightly different from each
Yeah,
other.
and there's
And it cuts back and forth between the two of them. It really, really, yeah, okay. That's really a meaningless complaint. And I acknowledge the other complaint complaints about this movie that like especially Robin has made and Eric
Hmm.
to a lesser degree. I acknowledge them as valid. They just don't hit me the same way as they hit you.
Mm.
My favorite part, and I've had to think about this a lot, and I think my favorite part always changes over time as I my appreciation for this movie deepens as my life goes on. The thing that really spoke out to me this time through, and we haven't even mentioned this character, but it's the story of Mr. Gower,
Mm.
Mm.
who of course is, George's boss when he's a kid, because George works at the drugstore, at the candy counter doing stuff and making medicine deliveries, and he finds out one morning that Mr. Gower's son has been killed from the Spanish flu, I assume, because it's around that same time period.
Hmm.
Um, and Mr. Gower is in the back and he's drunk and he puts the wrong thing in some capsules to deliver to one of his clients. And George doesn't know what to do at first. And at first he tries to go talk to his dad about it, but his dad's busy trying to fend off Mr. Potter, that awful, awful man. Um, so George just comes back and he's done the right thing. He's trying to protect Mr. Gower, and of course Mr. Gower is in a drunken rage and he's grieving miserably and
Hmm.
starts beating George on the ears. Uh, and but we see like the moment he turns after he realizes what he's done and the position he's put George in and what George has done for him.
Hmm.
Uh, and he goes and he grabs George, and George is still afraid. He thinks he's gonna hit him again, and he just grabs him and hugs him and cries. And we see in the Pottersville sequence later on that if George hadn't been there to do that, then Mr. Gower would have gone to jail for 20 years and ended up this sort of homeless drunk that everyone in town hates. And it's such a minor part of the story. We see Mr. Gower a couple other times throughout the movie. He buys George a suitcase,
Hmm.
towards the beginning. He shows up at the end with everybody, he pours out a jar of money on the
Yeah.
table.
I love that
Um,
suitcase scene.
it's great, but I
Yeah.
I think Mr. Gower
I don't
just
want
doesn't
a
get a lot of
I don't want a
press.
suitcase for one
Hmm.
day. I want a suitcase for 100 one day.
Want a real big one, yeah. um, but I didn't. Mr. Gower doesn't get enough press in this movie. The
Mm.
actor, I don't know the actor's name. His performance is really good, but I think it just sets up early on that George, not only is a kind person, but George is really smart, and
Hmm.
he's always aware of what's going on, and he's always trying to process what should I do in this moment? What would be the right thing for me to do?
Hmm.
And it winds up saving Mr. Gower's life. And
Yeah.
Mr. Gower in the end doesn't his you know he doesn't have a consequential role to play in the story, but he's always there as a reminder
Mm.
of the impact that George has had, even as a child.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
that young
I
actor is
just
wonderful in that scene. Like the kid he's playing.
he's great. He's so well
Yeah.
cast because
Yeah.
there's a moment where Violet, we haven't talked about Violet at all, but
Hmm.
Violet's like, "Can you help me down?" And he goes, "Help you
You
down." And
down.
it's the
Yeah.
same way it's the same way Jimmy Stewart would deliver that
Hmm.
line. So yeah, he's very well cast as a young Jimmy Stewart. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm gonna pick Mr. Gower as my favorite part. It's a
Yeah.
small part, but I
Well,
love it.
even like the kid that plays the younger version of George Bailey, like just his posture is very similar to
Hmm.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he's really good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go my favorite part is that ending, man. Just him
Hmm.
going, well, it's everything leading up. It's him, being happy about, the bloody lip and, him being
Mm,
in a mangy, old, dusty old home. Him
yeah,
going to jail. And then it ends on him saying, "Attaboy, Clarence." I just love,
yeah.
man. That just gets to me, man. That gets me every single time. It's just so beautiful. Um,
Hmm.
I don't really have a least favorite part, but there was something that kind of bothered me a little bit.
Okay.
What happened to Martini in this alternate dimension where
You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I
He's
guess
just
he,
not
he
there.
never moved out of the slum that he was living in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, you know,
Yeah.
never opened his bar. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but that's just my but overall I think this is almost a near perfect movie in my opinion.
Hmm.
All right, so you guys ready to get into rating? And
Sure.
how
Just
are
real quick
we?
before we do, Sawyer feels a little shy, but he wants to jump in with one more thing.
Okay.
Sure.
I just wanted to say, now that I've been reminded of it, I would like to change my least favorite part to when Mr. Potter steals the money,
Mm.
steals all all that money from Uncle Billy.
Yeah.
That just shows how truly evil he is. So that was
Hmm.
all I wanted to
So,
say.
so
And
gross. Yeah.
he would steal the money, and then he would also call George, like call the police on George. Like it's
Right.
just like insult to
Oh
Right.
yeah.
injury.
Yeah, because I'm like,
Just
okay, so he stole
irredeemable.
it, but
Hmm.
it's the fact that he like now I'm gonna call the police. Now I'm gonna tell you all these, make you think all these horrible things that maybe you did, like put all these thoughts in your head.
Hmm.
That's what
Right.
bothered me. I mean, because we
Hmm.
all knew that he
Evil.
was ruthless and like he, yes, if given the chance, he would have stolen the money
Mm.
and never said a
Sure.
word. But yeah, after that, I'm with you, Sawyer. That was a pretty bad part.
It's
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's awful.
Um, so let's get into rating. And how our rating system works is we each give our rating out of 10. We put that rating in an average calculator, and that becomes the official horror sci-fi and beyond score. Now, Jackson, real quick, did your mom give a rating over text?
No, but I know what hers would be.
Okay,
Mm.
you just want
I can speak. I have power of attorney.
to. Okay, you want
So,
to go? You want to do hers first?
I mean, she's gonna give it a 10. She's
Okay,
absolutely gonna give it a 10. It's one of her favorite movies ever made.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. What about you, Reed and Sawyer? What would you give this movie?
You want to go first? Or you want me to?
You go first.
Okay. Well, it's obvious for me. I cite this as my second favorite movie of all time in all cinema. So naturally, it's going to be a 10 from me.
A
Mm.
10. And what about you, Sawyer?
I think, um, are we allowed to do half ratings?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with a 9.5 for the specific reason that the first half is a little slow.
Mm.
Again, the first half is not bad, just a little slow, so I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, cool.
Still my favorite movie though.
Eric?
I'm probably not as generous. I'm gonna say an 8. I still enjoy this movie. I
That's
think
not
I found
bad.
it better. No, it's not bad. I enjoy this movie. I think it's got some like technical issues with it. You know, there's some like some things that they problems that were of that era. That sort of like keep it in that era. I think some of the structure is a little weird too. And to what Sawyer was saying, I think it is a little too long on the front end and a little too short on the back end. Like it feels a little rushed by the time you get to that point and a little long in the tooth at the top. Although I love the first half more than I do the second
Mhm.
half.
Sweet. What about you, Mom? What would you give this movie?
I am so sorry that I'm going to bring this overall rating down for y'all. I
No,
am
excited for it.
apologizing ahead of time. I gave it a 5. It was a
What,
very
a 5?
generous 5. Yeah.
Jesus
I
Christ.
knew that's what she was gonna say. I just knew it in my heart.
Very generous 5.
It was a very
All right. What about you, Jackson? What did you give this score? Or
It's an easy 10 for me. Easy.
awesome.
I don't even have to think about it.
All right. Give me 1 second, guys.
It's a lot of tens. A lot of tens.
Wait, so in this process, does Drew give his rating too? I don't know. I've not
Oh,
been
he
on the-
should.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Drew, what is your rating?
Oh yeah, it's a 10. This is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Silly
Um,
one.
So for before I reveal the official score, I'm gonna just go back to everybody's score real quick, just to remind everybody. Eric
Mhm.
gave it an 8, Jackson a 10, my mom a 5. How blasphemous. Reed a 10, Sawyer a 9.5, and Jackson's mom a 10. I gave it a 10. And the official horror sci-fi and beyond score for Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life is a 9. All right, so
Yes.
moving on.
Wonderful.
So
I
moving on
feel
to our,
like Robin is Mr. Potter in this situation, and for all the
I'm,
townspeople coming in to save this movie.
yeah.
yeah, I'm
I give
sorry.
it a 10. No, I give it a 10.
Okay, so as per usual that we do on our annual Christmas special, we talk about our favorite movies and least favorite movies of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Who all is gonna do that? Because I'm definitely gonna do it. I know, Mom, you said you're not gonna do it.
I'm gonna stick around and do it. I haven't seen that much, but I'll still talk
Okay,
about it.
Eric, what about
Yeah,
you?
same.
I'm
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna decline to do it because I haven't seen enough. We're in
Mm-hmm.
awards and voting season right now, so I am trying to catch up on a whole bunch of movies as of this recording. So I'm gonna decline at the moment. My favorite movie is probably gonna change 5 times in the next 3 months.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah.
it usually happens. All right, I'll start with
Yeah, I'll
you, Eric.
talk.
What,
No,
what was your,
yeah, I'll talk about my like top four that I have right now. Although
yeah.
they're still like Reed was saying, I'm still playing catch up, so
Yeah, I'm doing a
I
lot of
don't
that.
have enough. I still haven't seen the new Knives Out. There's like so much out there. But I will tell you like probably my favorite top four at the moment, which will change probably tomorrow or maybe even next week. So as of right now, my top four, I really love Phoenician Scheme, I really love Sinners, Weapons, and One Battle After Another. All for different reasons, but I think they're all kind of wonderful. Really was surprised about Phoenician Scheme because really did not like Asteroid City, and so very pleasantly surprised. Wes Anderson had something decent again, or good at least.
Yeah.
So, but
What
One
about,
Battle's really great.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Weapons was really good. Yeah, that's getting a
Mhm.
lot of Oscar buzz right now. Is Weapons? I'm surprised.
I see it getting maybe a screenplay nom and maybe Amy Madigan getting a nom, which
Oh yeah,
I hope she does.
Amy Madigan gets a nom. That is gonna be enough for me.
and she was
Like,
Aunt Gladys, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, she was
worth it.
so
great,
good in that.
great horror villain.
Yeah. What about you, Jack? You wanted some highlights for you?
Weapons as well.
Hmm.
But the other one duking it out right now. And like I said, I haven't seen that much this year, but Weapons is probably going to stay really close to the
Hmm.
top. The
Hmm.
other one was really on its heels and maybe even surpassing it is I just watched Wake Up Dead Man, the new
Mm.
Benoit
Yeah, I
Blanc
didn't see that.
mystery. It is excellent, and it's everything Glass Onion wasn't.
Hmm.
Mm.
Because Glass Onion was fun because
It was fine.
it was
Yeah.
very silly,
Hmm.
and it had some nice twists and turns. Wake Up Dead Man goes really deep into idea. It's about like it's not just about the mystery. Like it's this
Hmm.
whole like faith versus doubt
Hmm.
Mm.
conundrum
Okay.
because the main character, and always in these movies, the main character is not Benoit Blanc. He
Hmm.
comes in to solve the mystery. The main character is always somebody else. In this one, it's Father Judd, who's played by Josh O'Connor,
Yeah.
giving a great performance.
Man, I really, really hope that Daniel Craig gets nominated for that character one of these days because he's so good at
I
that.
don't think it's ever going to happen, but if it ever would happen, I think it would be this movie because
Really?
he's called on to do some things that he hasn't done as this
Hmm.
character before. He plays a few
Interesting.
different notes, but the movie is really about him and Josh O'Connor's character sort of going back and forth on
Hmm.
some really like profound ideas. So that's my
Hmm.
other really big one. I won't get into too much else that I've seen. I've seen a lot of movies that I would give like a four, like
Hmm.
Superman, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolt, like some of these other ones, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Hmm.
The other notable one I want to bring up just because I saw it today is Chloe Zhao's Hamnet,
Hmm.
Mm.
I heard that's
which
really good.
stars Paul Mescal and Jesse Buckley. Paul Mescal plays William Shakespeare, and Jesse Buckley plays his wife, and it's a family drama. It's not really about Shakespeare being Shakespeare for the most part until it is. But it's about them as a couple experiencing the death of a child and the different ways that they grieve in this. And it has a final sequence that I won't spoil that is one of the most
Mm.
beautiful, amazing things that you will see in a movie all year long.
Okay.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
if Jesse Buckley doesn't win an Oscar, I'm going to burn down Hollywood.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
been
looking forward
giving
to.
great performances for years and she's been
Years and
deserved
years and
for it.
years.
But if
Yeah.
she does not win for this movie, something's very wrong.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I honestly never heard of Jesse Buckley until I saw that trailer for Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, with the new take.
Yeah, which also looks fun.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
But she's doing something so special in this movie, particularly when you get to the final like 15 minutes or
Oh
so.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
All right, you guys ready for mine?
Sure.
Did Sawyer have any? I didn't know. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know
did you
if
have?
you had anything, Sawyer, you want to talk about.
I've mostly just been watching movies from previous years, so I don't really have
Mm.
anything
Mm.
No, that's
this
cool.
year that I would like to talk about because I haven't seen that many.
Yeah.
So
Did
I
you
think
see
I think
Superman?
I'll just I did see Superman,
Did you
yes.
like it?
I thought it was good. I thought it
Yeah.
was a good movie.
That was my most anticipated
Yep.
movie this year, and it was
Mm.
so good. Like that's the thing about my most anticipated movie. Like I'll just become obsessed with it the entire year, and I just will read any and all things about it. So I'm gonna do my honorable mentions real quick.
Hmm.
Um, Ballerina, the John Wick spin-off movie. Um, Novocaine, The Fantastic Four, First Steps, The Conjuring, Last Wakes, Weapons, Mickey 17, Jurassic World, Rebirth, The Gourds, Together, Destiny and Unicorn, and Wicked for Good are all my. Oh, and Roofman with Channing Tatum. I just watched that recently.
That's
Hmm.
in my least favorites of the year.
Really? You didn't like it
I
that much?
did not like it at all, really.
I
Interesting.
really liked it. Okay, so my top 10 for the year as of December 15th, when we're recording this in 2025, would be number 10, Companion. Um,
Hmm.
just a really fun, in my opinion, a smart, horror sci-fi movie that's kind of like Megan meets Terminator. And my boy Jack Quaid's in there, and I love Jack Quaid, and I want him to play me in a movie about my life if there it happens. I can just picture him as me.
If you're
Um,
listening, Jack Quaid.
Number
Yeah.
9 would be Drop. A movie when I initially saw the trailer for it, I'm like, okay, this might be kind of stupid, but I ended up really liking it. It was just a
Hmm.
fun movie. You know, it's it's kind of like an Alfred Hitchcock kind of style thriller when this woman keeps getting like these weird text messages when she's on a date. And I love the guy that played her date. He was really sweet and kind throughout the whole entire situation. And I love the waiter. He was super funny. It's just a fun movie, and I did not expect who it was gonna be. It was actually genuinely surprising to me.
Hmm.
Number 8 would be The Monkey, based off the Stephen King short
I
story.
like that one.
That movie was just batshit insane.
It's very fun.
I was one of the few people that were in the theater. There was maybe like two or three other people in there with me, and I was just laughing hysterically. Like, that these people probably thought I was high. That's how.
I had the exact experience. Like I was laughing and nobody else seemed to be getting the joke.
Yeah, it was just so hysterical. Um, Number 7 will be F1, the Brad Pitt Formula One movie. From the same director as Top Gun Maverick. Which this movie is a lot of fun, did not have the same amount of impact as Top Gun Maverick, but it just goes to show why Brad Pitt is one of my favorite movie stars. Because he just has that charisma that I love.
Sure.
Even though he's probably not a good guy in real life from some of the stuff I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number six, I'm gonna go with the Thunderbolts.
Hmm.
A real fun, small scale like Marvel movie. Which is what we needed. We needed something sort of standalone, but also that teases of what's to come. And that end credit scene combined with Fantastic Four end credit scene really got me excited for the new Avengers movie coming out next like literally next year, like next December.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I
I
still think
was
it's gonna be overbloated, but
Yeah,
whatever.
probably. I mean, I thought we were in trouble after Brave New World because I was like, "Ooh, this is not great." And
Yeah,
then, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four were both pleasant surprises. So
yeah. I'm gonna go
I'll
number
keep my fingers
five.
crossed.
I'm gonna go number five, Sinners.
Hmm.
Just a really unique, like, sort of horror movie.
Mm.
Thought it delved on a lot of stuff about why music is important to people. And the thing I really liked about it, and even the director Ryan Coogler talked about this, was that we all deal with hardship in in our life, no matter where we come from. And art can be a reflection of that. Not just with blues in the black community. This movie kind of is about like Irish folk music too, and how that talked about the hardships of
Mm.
of that culture.
Right.
The only thing is that I don't like about this movie was when it actually. I like all the stuff when the vampires were trying to get into the Blues Club. That was all great, but the final showdown was a little bit weak for me, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, but then that wonder shot, oh my God, when Sammy's playing the guitar was
Yeah.
spectacular. I was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
expecting that at all.
Worth the price of admission, even
Oh
if the
yeah.
ending is a little.
Well, the end credit, the mid credit scene with Buddy Guy was amazing. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn about it. It feels like it feels like almost like I don't know. The end of the movie to me is probably its weakest, the weakest thing about it. But
Yeah,
really, I mean, the rest of it's pretty great,
yeah,
especially what you were talking about the music.
yeah. I'll give you the Vampire Showdown. But everything else about the ending, I liked.
Mm.
Um, Number four would be Mike Flanagan's new movie, The Life of Chuck. A movie that I initially really enjoyed for like its vibes and how it made me felt. Could not for the life of me figure out the themes of the movie until I read the
Hmm.
short story
Mm.
by Stephen King, and I read the intro that he wrote,
Hmm.
in honor of the movie, and he kind of explained like where his head was at, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool, because this movie is sort of about like in our life when we interact with people, we kind of keep them stored up in our subconscious, and it's like when we die, like that part of our subconscious like goes away. I really like that.
Mm.
Number three will be Final Destination Bloodlines. Probably like my biggest regret. Movie not seeing it in theaters. I really wish
Mm.
I could have seen it in theaters because it subverts every expectation you have for a Final Destination movie. My mom texted me telling me I need to wrap this up quicker. Um, Number two would be Superman.
Mm.
Just a fun golden age style superhero movie with Superman. Like this is a Superman movie that I wanted. Like it had the heart of
Mm.
the Reeves film and the all action of the Man of Steel film. And then number one will be another Stephen King adaptation, The Long Walk. Um,
Mm.
man, I know we need to wrap this up, but this movie really got me. This is the breaking the premise of this movie is um there's this war that broke out in America in this story, and it called it economic collapse, and these boys volunteered to do this rock that never ends, and if you go below 3 miles per hour, they shoot you, and it's
Mm.
very horrific. And man, every kill scene got to me. For somebody that watches a lot of violent media, it really got to me.
Yeah.
So that's my
Plus you
number
get
one.
Mark. Plus you get Mark Hamill doing his best Brian Cox impression.
I wanted more of them to be honest, since that came.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of them, and honestly, like they set him up that he's like supposed to be feared, but we don't. I don't know if we got enough of him that I was actually scared of. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Okay.
know. I do agree with you about all the like they set up all their characters really well, and it is very impactful whenever the people you've grown to care about over the past 2 hours are like start dropping off.
Yeah.
Um, it's good. It's good. I would say it's not my favorite of the year, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. Least favorite movie of the year? You wanna go, Eric?
My least favorite movie. I don't know if I have like a least favorite movie of the year. Uh, you know, I don't. I don't know. I never saw anything that wasn't just like irredeemable. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
don't have one, you don't have
I
one.
saw some bad movies this year. I saw a lot of bad movies, but I don't know. There wasn't any that was just like this is probably the worst year. Also, I may still watch a bad movie for the end of the year, so I don't know what that'll be. I got time.
All right, Jackson, what is your least favorite of the year?
I mean, I mentioned Wolfman, and I really didn't like that, but there were a couple things I did like about it, so it's not my least
Hmm.
favorite movie.
Mm.
Um, my least favorite movie of the year is easily Captain America: Brave New World, which
You
is not only
wow,
my
you
least
really don't like
favorite.
that.
It's not only my least favorite movie of the year. I think it's the worst MCU movie by a pretty good margin because I generally like those movies. I
Yeah.
don't love all of them, but I almost always come away being like, okay, I had a good time. I
Hmm.
hated this movie. I hated it. It's just the most slapdash, lazy, just unthoughtful version of a Captain America movie we could possibly ever get.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for Anthony Mackie
He
that
deserves better.
he
Yeah.
he finally got to take over the character that had been promised to him for years, and this is the material they
Mm.
give him. And I just really, really hated that
Yeah. That
movie.
makes sense.
I can't think of anything nice to say about it, you know? Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. My least favorite, I was debating between Wolfman and Karate Kid Legends. I'm gonna go with Karate Kid. Because at least to a certain extent, Wolfman was competently made. There's at least two or three like action set pieces that I really enjoyed, and there's some cool themes. It felt like the studio made Lee Marnell, the director and writer, like send in whatever draft he had at the time,
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
get the
it
movie
does
out.
feel like that. Yeah.
Karate Kid, that was a crash grab because there's like a boxing subplot and they try to throw in Jackie Chan characters from the
Hmm.
Gaten Smith movie, and then
Yeah.
Ralph Macchio, which is dumb. I did not like this movie. Like, I mean, I like the kid that played the Karate Kid, but he was not. The rest of the movie was just, meh. Yeah, it was just whatever. Just yeah.
I will say, and I don't necessarily hate this movie, but I will say the laziest movie I saw this year was called Fountain of Youth with
Mm.
Krasinski and directed by Guy Ritchie, and it's
Th-
just like
That
going through
did
the
that looked like a
motions.
fake movie that you would
It's
see in another, like a trailer that somebody in a movie would go and
mm-hmm.
see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just going through the motions. Everyone's just doing the bare minimum here for a paycheck.
Okay, and then real quick, most anticipated movie of next year.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to Wuthering Heights. I was hit or miss on like I didn't really care for
Oh, geez.
Saltburn. And then I'm looking forward to The Bride, I think.
Yeah, that one looks interesting.
Yeah.
Jackson.
I forgot to look at what's coming out next year.
Okay.
You go ahead
Um,
and do yours and I'll look real quick.
Regent Sawyer, do you have one real quick?
I just wanted to say that my most anticipated movie of next year is Scream 7.
Mm.
Yes, that's one of mine too. It's coming out soon, man, in a couple of months.
Hmm.
Reed, what about you?
Um, I got to join Sawyer on Scream 7 only because we've recently run through the whole
Hmm.
franchise. So I'm just
Mm.
really excited about that. It's the one that's the most on my radar. So there's always honestly my most anticipated movie I probably haven't heard of yet because I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
it's like they're on the horizon or they're in the atmosphere and then suddenly I find out about them when a trailer drops. And so I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute." But yeah, for what I know of, Scream 7.
Yeah. Um, this is gonna be so obvious for me. It's gonna be Steven Spielberg's Untitled Project. I have no idea what it's gonna be about. They're saying it's gonna be about UFOs. I heard somebody
Mm.
theorize it's gonna be a remake of The Birds, the Alfred Hitchcock movie. It could be any. It could be literally anything. But it's Spielberg making a movie, possibly about UFO conspiracy theories, and I love Spielberg. So
It's
that's
just
my
Fableman 2. It's just Fableman 2. That's
It's
all it is.
Fablemans too.
that well, I heard that the
Where
first
Sammy
trailer.
Fableman makes a shark movie and everything goes
Hmm.
wrong. Yeah.
Hmm.
I heard that we're gonna get the first trailer for this in front of Avatar, the new one, and I think I'm gonna pull
Mm.
up Phantom Menace and use my one free movie credit for Cinemark to just go see that trailer
I
and
mean,
then the new Avengers trailer and just like leave because I don't care about
no,
Avatar
stay
anymore.
for the movie. Stay for the movie at least.
No,
You
I'm
paid
on.
for it.
But then I gotta buy like snacks and I can't afford to
You
buy.
don't have to buy snacks. You could just go for the
No,
movie.
I can't do another 3 hour Blue Cat People movie again.
You've done
I,
it twice. Might as well do a third. They're going to keep making
no,
them.
I
Someone's got to
can't.
go see them,
No,
Drew. Someone has to go see them.
So
no.
I'm torn. I'm torn on my most anticipated of next year. So there's the smaller one and there's the bigger one. The smaller one is
Mm,
Mother Mary, which is the new David Lowery
Mm.
film. He who
mm.
made The Green Knight and A Ghost Story and The Old Man and the Gun and some other movies. Yeah. Um, and it's Anne Hathaway playing like a pop star, and it looks absolutely insane.
Yeah, I saw that trailer.
Okay.
That looked really interesting.
And then the big one, I mean, it's the Odyssey. We get another
Yes,
Christopher Nolan
Nolan.
movie.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I've got to go with one of those.
Yeah. All right. So that was favorite, least favorite of 2025 and most anticipated of 2026.
Mhm.
Let's do next year's episode slate of things we got planned just real quick.
Mhm.
Like we said, we're doing the Freaky Friday, the Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan one for Mother's Day. This next October, we're doing the entire Scream franchise, and seven will be out at that time.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So we might have to do 2 episodes a week in October for that one, which is going to be fun. Um, and
Yeah.
then where we got Hour on Hitchcock season 2 with me and Reed next year,
Nice.
and we're doing Strangers on the Train, North by Northwest, Dial M for Murder, Frenzy, and then we're ending it off with Psycho.
Mm.
This is awesome.
I'm very excited.
Yep. And
I
then for
love
the
Stranger
first
Things.
episode of the next of the new year, we're doing Guillermo del Toro Part 3.
Mm.
We're doing Mimic, Blade 2, Nightmare Alley, and Frankenstein.
Oh boy.
Yep, which is exciting, and we probably
All
won't
the
be
all
able.
the leftovers from the
Yep,
Del Toro.
Yeah,
we probably
Oh
won't
boy.
do a Del Toro video for a while. You have to at least make 3 more movies after that.
that's true. I mean, are we doing the black and white version of Nightmare Alley or the theatrical version?
I don't know. I didn't know there's another version of it.
There's another version out.
I
I
Okay.
haven't
mean, I
seen
think
the
it
black
came
and
out.
white one.
I haven't either. It's on Hulu now, apparently, though, and it's like
Okay.
on the
Yeah,
Criterion.
we'll decide
So
that
I've been
later.
tempted. Okay.
All right. And now this is going to be our big summer series for next year. We're doing Summer of Ghibli,
Mm.
which is referring to Studio Ghibli, which is the Japanese version of Disney. And they make some of the most beautiful animated movies you've ever seen. So for that series, we're doing My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, The Boy and the Heron, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, and then Princess Mononoke. Which,
That's gonna be wild.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of fun.
Surprised
right.
we didn't do Poco Rosso.
Yeah.
Or the cat returns.
Oh, the cat returns.
So before we end this episode, do you guys got any closing end of the year thoughts?
Do we have a wait? Do we have a hypothetical for this episode?
Oh, did you?
No, that's way too. That's better
Just
when it's
asking.
just the three of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll get out of hand.
Yeah. Do you guys
I didn't
have,
even bother to think of one.
do you guys have any ending like any like inspiring things you want to like give people, like an inspiring message you want to give people going into
I
next
don't
year?
know if it's inspires. I'm just, I'm thankful for all of y'all. I'm thankful for getting on here and talking with movies. And I wish we got to see each other more and talk more, but grateful for the time that we have.
Yeah. What about you,
We'll see.
Reed? Do you have any closing in the year, like anything inspirational?
In the spirit of the film, I do want to say if there's anybody out there who feels like they are discouraged, like they are in a place where they are not getting the traction that they want out of life, they are feeling like they're sliding downward, that they're like things are going backward. I just want to speak a word that like, hey, it is not always about how it is right now. It's about where it's going to go, and be encouraged because every choice you make matters. And don't feel as if temporary moments reflect your value, and don't feel as if there are minor situations that cloud who you really are. There's always an opportunity. If it, this season of the year reminds me probably more than any other time of the year, even though Halloween may be my favorite season, I think this season is perhaps the most meaningful to me because it's the time of year that reminds me like there's always a chance. Like there's always a chance to start again, to do something new, to find your value, to find your worth. So don't listen to all of the voices that tell you you don't matter and you don't mean anything. You mean a tremendous deal. So let me be one silly little Clarence Oddbody speaking in your ear, saying like you have no idea what the world would be like without you, and we need you desperately. So yeah, just plant that little seed. That is my hope for everybody in the new year, that they would recognize that in ways that life often does not remind us of. So yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings. Do you have something you want to say?
Yeah. I don't know how good this is, but I came up with this. Don't let others make you who you are. Because then you can never be the best you. So just make yourself you.
Awesome.
I love it.
What about you,
Nice.
Mom? Do you have any encouraging things you want to say going into next year?
I do. Don't watch this movie. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding. No, I just wanted to take a small pause before I have any words of encouragement. I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for being in Drew's life and helping him and encouraging him to do something that he is so passionate about. And I just, bottom of my heart, I wanted to thank you all for being a part of that. So with that being said,
I appreciate that.
Well, I love you, babe.
Yep. Yeah, and Reed's probably my biggest mentor, being a podcaster himself.
Yeah,
like he's like my Yoda.
I love that.
And me and Eric are just chop suey over here.
I know.
We're like a side dish. We're like a side salad.
Chewy, is what you are. I'm Luke Skywalker.
Well, and see there that you never know whose life you're going to touch and the direction it's going to be. Drew only knows Eric because Eric and I went to school together. We used to do films together. Eric and I were actually friends. Have put Eric in Drew's life. So there you go. Yeah. But my words of encouragement, I would Reed, thank you so much for saying what you said. So just give a little backstory. Drew knows this, but I don't really talk about it a lot. But this time of the year for my family was extreme. When I was young, was extremely hard. My father lost his, well, it's his stepdad, but it was his dad. You know, the man who raised him. He lost him literally on Christmas Eve. Um, well, that's when he officially passed away. So my father, as a young man, my mom was super, super pregnant with my sister because she was actually born the day after Christmas. So he left his wife, went because he had gone. His dad had gone fishing. They were searching all night, all the next day. So Christmas, my dad didn't wasn't even there when my sister was born because he was out searching for his dad. Found him dead. So it was always very difficult. Christmas has always been very, very difficult for us. And we've just always known that. My thing is, and what my dad did for us, because it was so hard for him, was sometimes you got to hold on, just hang on and find that little bit of joy. Just the, and if, sometimes that may be all it is. It's just one teeny thing that gets you up and gets you going that day. And so we just always got that from my dad because, like I said, it was a super hard time for him. But just something simple. I remember and of course, I learned all this when I was an adult. By the way, I did not know this when I was young. What my dad was suffering and going through. But for him, it was taking us out sledding. He had built this sled. I grew up in the country, so he had a tractor and a little sled he built us, and so he would take us out there and just drive us around in the snow. Just doing those little things for us was what kept him going, and gave him that little bit of joy and that little bit of joy so that he could make it, each year. So anyway, I'm so glad that you said that, Reed, because I think it's very important to recognize that sometimes that does happen around this time of year. So definitely hang on.
Well, thank you for sharing that story.
Awesome.
I appreciate you sharing your heart. That means a lot.
Yeah. Jackson, do you have anything you want to say?
I think it's important to remember as we're in this winter season and the nights get longer and the air gets colder around us. One thing is very important to remember, and that is don't eat the yellow snow.
So good. So good.
But in all seriousness, no, don't eat the yellow snow. Don't
okay, Frank Zappa.
No, I'm gonna make it serious. Don't eat the yellow snow. Don't give into the temptation to put something rancid inside of yourself. It's easy to say don't be cynical. I think there's a healthy kind of cynicism that you can have, but don't let it become the your don't let it be the only thing you consume. The only thing that goes in or out.
Yep.
Be open to other people. Don't get mad if somebody says happy holidays to you because they're just being nice. Recognize that there is more to this time of year than Christmas. There are lots of different holidays that people celebrate. That's just one small example, but this is hard to talk about, but in the sort of divisive, sort of rancid world that we find ourselves in a lot of the time, don't eat the yellow snow.
Yeah.
There's better things out there than just, literally being pissed. And I don't know, that's just what came to mind. Because it's something I have to struggle with a lot, to not be just this angry person walking around all the time because of this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
You know, find something. Find the good snow.
Yeah.
Good snow is good to eat.
Yeah, so I just want to kind of thank everybody on this episode individually. I want to thank you, Mom, for raising me to be the kind and caring, man that I am. And thank you for encouraging me to follow my dreams, and thank you for helping out with my Scream fan film. I want to thank Eric for being, an awesome co-host, being there from the very beginning when we did our horror movie quiz, like almost like 4 or 5 years ago. And you've been a great mentor in my pursuit, of filmmaking. Even though you don't think you're a good mentor, but you are. Like you're teaching me a lot of stuff, as well as you, Mom. And that's make an awesome Scream movie next year. Like I'm so excited to finally film that. Reed, thank you for being another mentor for me. Thank you for always being there when I need you for stuff, and thank you for getting Sawyer into the horror movie 'cause that's awesome. Like honestly, you talking about showing him horror movies makes me want to have a kid now. I've been going back and forth on that for years, but I actually because of that I want a kid now, so I can share my favorite movies with them. And Jackson, thank
It's
you
one of the
for
top three best reasons to have a kid. It is.
I mean, I shared horror movies with him. He wants to
It's
just
true.
pass it
Yeah,
down.
well, I mentioned on last year's Christmas special, I gave you a thanks when I said thank you for letting me borrow the original Universal Frankenstein from the library after we lived in Iceland, because that what got me into horror movies. Well, it didn't give me. I didn't watch a lot of movies after that, but that was the first horror movie I've ever watched,
Hmm.
and it had a big impact on me.
Only
Jackson,
takes one.
yeah, Jackson, thank you for derailing this show because it just brings a lot of entertainment on here. And
I tried.
thank you for bringing a lot of thoughtfulness in these movies you talk about. Like everybody that's on here that's ever been on here brings a lot of different perspectives on these movies.
Hmm.
And thanks for everybody that donated to the Scream movie. I really appreciate that. That really,
That should be the most anticipated for next year.
yes.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm already thinking of plans for like the next two I want to make, and in the storyline I want to do.
Well, I mean, you deserve some thanks too, Drew. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you for opening up this space in your life for
Mhm.
us to come in and derail. So,
And thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And one more thing I just want to say, we had a pretty challenging year this year. There was a lot of struggle, a lot of divide. I just want to say to everybody out there, no matter what your political views are, what your religious beliefs are, your sexual orientation, your ethnicity, whatever, just be good people, man. Just be a good person. That's
be
what it,
excellent to each other.
yeah. But yeah, guys, you know the drill. If you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slash that subscribe button and make sure. Oh, here comes my mom. Make sure. Oh my God. She's hugging me. She's hugging me. You guys can't see, but she's hugging
Now
me.
who's derailing the podcast? There we go.
But anyways, make sure you slash that subscribe button and make sure you follow us at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond on Facebook. If you like this video, make sure you give it a King Kong size thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, it's been Drew from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Over and out. Bye. And stay weird.
What's that?
That's a Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine. That's right. That's right.
Attaboy, Clarence.